Yathrib becomes the city of the Prophet. As they finally came into Yathrib, Abu Bakr and the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon them, were greeted and welcomed by dozens of believers. They were all so excited to either see the Prophet had made it safely, or they were just simply awestruck to see him for the first time. From that day on, Yathrib would be called Al-Madina, which means the city, which would be short for city of the Prophet or city of the Messenger of God. Everyone wanted to meet the Prophet and see him, and they were all hoping he would stay with them. The Prophet told everyone, "Let my camel go because it is commanded by God." And finally his camel stopped in front of the house owned by Abu Ayyub. The people gathered around him as he got down and put his belongings up. And they all wanted to ask him about his journey and see if there's anything they could do to help or offer him. A rabbi named Abdullah bin Salam came to see Muhammad, as he had considered that maybe he was the Prophet that they were expecting. As he approached, he heard the Prophet repeating an advice to the believers: spread peace, feed people, be good to your relatives, and pray at night while others are sleeping, and you will all go to paradise and live in peace. The rabbi spoke to him for a minute and was completely moved and convinced that he was the Prophet, and he confirmed his prophethood and embraced Islam. Shortly after his arrival, they began to build the mosque. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, worked with everyone else as they filled the walls of bricks and wooden poles with mud and sealed it with palm leaves. The mosque would become the main center where Muslims would pray and meet and plan and study and visit. It would be the central gathering place for the believers. Now, the believers were made up of two groups. There were the migrants and the helpers, often referred to as the Muhajireen or the Muhajirun, which is the migrants, and the Ansar, which are the helpers. Their collective example of commitment and character is something all believers are expected to take as a model. The Quran says what means in the 9th chapter, verse 100, God is pleased with the forerunners of Islam among the immigrants and the helpers and those who follow them to their best. God is pleased with them as they are pleased with him, and he has created a paradise for them to live in. In the process of solidifying their bonds and breaking the shackles of tribalism, the Prophet instituted a system of brotherhood. He paired each migrant with someone from the helpers, and they would live together and consider each other as actual family. Medina at this time consisted of three groups. There were the Muslims, there were the Arabs who remained idol worshippers, and there were three large Jewish tribes living in and on the outskirts of Medina. So the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, called his close companions over the next few months. He instructed them to record a historic document known as the Medina Pact, or the Constitution of Madina. It's considered by some to be the world's first legal document covering a mutual system of rights for a pluralistic society that maintained a sense of equality. This document outlined the unity of a diverse group of people living from different faiths but yet considered one nation. It outlined their mutual responsibilities as it related to both internal law amongst themselves, as well as the laws related to foreign elements and those who would oppose them. It maintained economic and religious freedom for all and assumed innocence until proven otherwise. This pact was agreed upon by everyone. Medina was now a vibrant state founded on a common agreement between all groups. Islam was growing quickly, and the Prophet was the religious teacher and also the political leader of Medina. The message revealed in Mecca focused on monotheism, understanding who God is and avoiding polytheism and idol worship. It focused on the understanding of the purpose of life and the preparation for the hereafter and improving upon one's personal character. Medina would require a new focus. This new community would require revelations to regulate their public and social life. The Quran laid down rules for business and marriage and inheritance, criminal law, and many other forms of structured Islam. It gave structure and order to the pillars of Islam that had already been generally practiced in Mecca. These changes in teachings were new, and they were something that would need to be implemented gradually, and that's exactly how the Quran came down. Islam was now officially a nation state of its own. What the Meccans feared was coming is true now. Muhammad had become an independent power outside of their political influence.